All right. Hi, everybody. This is James talking. We're going to talk about our group project, but let me introduce everybody first. This is Evan over here.
Yo!
This is Mo.
What's poppin'?
We got Gabriel over here.
What's up, guys? What's up?
And Guillermo, last but not least.
Hola.
All right. And so today we're going to be talking about our bookstore kiosk idea for the GBC bookstore. And let's just go right into it now. So if you've ever bought books here at the bookstore in the first weeks of the semester, you know there are crazy long lineups. Sometimes these lineups consume the whole bookstore and the space outside to the point where students have to take turns just to get in the bookstore. And so what this does is it discourages students and, maybe make them buy their books elsewhere or not buy their books at all, or waiting 3 or 4 weeks to go and get their books, which is going to have a negative effect on their grades because they're not reading the course material. What we want to do is we want to try to minimize this gridlock by having this kiosk pickup area. It's going to be located in Building A of the St. James campus, either outside the student lounge area, where there are booths there throughout the year selling different things, or in the main foyer of the building, where there are also sales going on throughout the year with bigger setups to have more space. So we don't want to start this kiosk up in the first week of the semester. We want to give students a chance to go to their classes, see if they actually need the books for those classes, and make the decision from there. So we want to start up in the second week and run for about 4 weeks up until the 5th week of the semester, when we anticipate that demand for the books is going to sharply decline and we will no longer be needed to reduce these long lineups at the bookstore. So we're also hoping that students will find this as a service and will encourage them to actually use the bookstore and its website to buy their books and get their supplies, and discourage them from going to websites like Amazon to buy their books, or going on eBay to find them secondhand, or even going on some unreputable sites and just downloading them and printing them off or photocopying them. So, how do we plan on doing this? Well, one of the first things that we got to get done is have flyers printed to be sent out with the enrollment packages. We get them stuffed in with those for the students who have applied and accepted to come to George Brown, and they have to register for classes and give the whole orientation package, and we're hoping to have the flyers part of that so they know they can order their books online and pick them up at this kiosk. We also need signs and flyers posted around campus, just to let the students know that when they're walking around the first week or so, that they know they can do this. The bookstore website will also have to be redesigned to allow for the pickup kiosk to be an option when buying books online. We'll also send out reminders with the My GBC newsletter emails that all students receive. When students go to order online, they will give them the option to choose when they want to pick up their books. This is just so it's convenient for them and it's a better fit for their busy student lives. We'll be giving them the option of picking up the books in half-hour time blocks. This is to ensure that there won't be excessive lineups at the kiosk, which would be redundant on our part, and to make sure that we have the supplies necessary to meet the demand. Once the website, signs, flyers, and advertising have taken hold, we will need to make sure our location has been secured and the initial equipment and supplies are at hand. We will make sure this is done at least 1 week before our start date to ensure that everything is set up and ready to go. We'll run the kiosk from Monday to Friday, 9 to 4 initially, and we'll increase or decrease the hours based on the demand we see with the orders being processed by the website. To get feedback on how to improve our offering and see how successful we are at alleviating some of the student stress, we will ask participants to fill out short, confidential questionnaires while we process their order. Hopefully this will give us an insight as to what some of the students think and what we're doing well and what we aren't doing well. Once the kiosk has been up and running for up to 4 weeks, we'll have to strike or dismantle the setup, which will be an easy job as we are trying to keep the kiosk as uncomplicated as possible. We'll also have all this data to process, which will help us to determine the satisfaction and sales rates we actually achieved. Once we have our findings, we can present them to the George Brown College management to hopefully continue our offering and also collect our modest project management fees.
In order to do this project, we'll have to make the following assumptions. Firstly, GBC will provide space at no extra cost. We assume the college will make it as easy as possible to find a space. If they do help us with finding a space, it will reduce costs even more. Secondly, project managers will also be the main project team. Since we know the project from top to bottom, it would be more efficient if we helped run it. We would also have all the knowledge to help ensure this project is successful. Thirdly, GBC will allocate human resources for some of the tasks involved. HR would allocate resources to help include our flyers in the enrollment packages. Also, have an IT person to help redesign the GBC bookstore website to include the kiosk option. Lastly, GBC will provide tables, chairs, boxes, and bags at no extra cost. We're hoping they have extra equipment that they can provide us with to help run the kiosk.
Weighted factor model. The criteria for a weighted factor model are the following. Increase student satisfaction by 10% and we give it a score of 35. Increase revenue by 3% and we give it a score of 35. Keep the budget under $20,000 and we give it a score of 20. Increase enrollment by 5% and we give it a weight of 10. Increase student satisfaction. We give it a score of 2 because students won't waste their time in a lineup. Increase revenue. We give it a score of 1 because students are broke, but they still gotta buy books. Keep budget under $20,000. We give it a score of 2 because our budget is under $20,000. Increase enrollment. We give it a score of 0 because it's not a factor when it comes to enrollment. Our final score was 145. After calculating our scores, the bookstore kiosk met all of the criteria by a long shot.
Now we are going to take a quick look at our estimated budget. To begin with are the fixed costs we think will be associated with running the kiosk. Getting enough flyers and signs printed for advertising should only be around $800, we hope. Also, the space being provided should cost no more than $800. And if George Brown College is willing to provide that for us, it will decrease those costs significantly. Equipment we estimate at about $100. This is the tables, chairs, bags, boxes that we were talking about before. And again, we hope that George Brown College will help us out with that. Now, our variable costs are where most of the budget will be allocated. It mostly comes in the form of getting our advertisements out to students so that they're aware of this great way to buy the books. Another big hit is getting the kiosk actually staffed. Now, ideally, as the project managers, we wouldn't have to staff our own project, but as it's another source of income for us, and it'll help keep the training costs down because hopefully we have a pretty good idea of what we're doing, it's exactly what we're hoping to do. Another cost is getting the website redone and tested and launched and set up so people can actually place their orders and we can get those orders to us on time. So the fixed and variable costs are going to add up to just about under $17,000. So we are also hoping to increase the revenue of the bookstore by about 3%, and by our estimates that should be about $48,000. Or another way of putting that is 6 students a day spending an average of $400 on their books. So even if we were to fall short of our projected sales, or we were wrong in some of the estimates that we had made with our budget, there is sizable revenue still to be had, which would make this still a worthy endeavor.
Key performance indicators. These key performance indicators are going to ensure that we are staying on point during the process of this project. Website redesigned. We are going to redesign the GBC bookstore website to include the kiosk pickup option. Flyers printed. We have to get our flyers printed before the enrollment packages get sent out to ensure that the flyers will be included in the packages. Enrollment packages made. Packages will be made and our students will be informed about the kiosk. Signs printed. Signs will be printed and posted around campus to ensure students become aware about the kiosk option. Acquire space. We will need to have a space secured by the first week of the semester. Open kiosk. The kiosk will open and run its course. Closing the kiosk. Kiosk will be closed, findings will be reported, and invoices will be submitted.
So, this is how we will deal with various problems we might encounter while running the bookstore. A delayed delivery of books. That is a low probability but a high impact. To deal with that, we will just transfer the problem to the bookstore. If someone forgets their receipt, that is a high probability but low impact, and we will mitigate it by having the customer show their ID. If someone cancels their order, that is also low probability with high impact though, and we will just have to accept that. If a wrong book is given to a student, that is a medium probability but a high impact. We will mitigate that by having a checklist and double checking all orders. Not meeting our weekly goals, that is a medium probability with a high impact, and we will mitigate that by cutting the kiosk's hours. Canceling the pickup is high probability but low impact, and we will just transfer that to the bookstore. So our long-term vision for this project is to diminish the lineups that are commonly experienced at the bookstore, as well as increasing the revenue for the bookstore. And we would also like to introduce this kiosk to other colleges and universities. We plan on achieving this by monitoring the kiosks and the website's activity and usage, implementing various marketing strategies, and conducting surveys among students, asking them what they like and needs to be improved with the kiosk.
All right. Well, I think I speak for everyone here that this project was a blast, and I hope you had as much fun listening to it as we did talking about it. Good luck on the exam, everybody, and we'll see you all next semester.